Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, I'll be making this dress that you can see on your screen. If you're interested, keep on watching and let's get started. So I already have my pattern paper on my work table and I'll start by taking my point. So this is an off shoulder dress, so I'm going to be taking out 5 inches, which is how deep I want the neckline of my dress to be. So I took out 5 inches and I placed the distance from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my under bust point, which is 13 inches. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my waist point, which is 16 inches. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my hip point, which is 25 inches, and the last point is the length of my dress, which is 37 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and rule straight lines across all these points. So this is a straight dress. This dress does not have any half length. That is why I placed my hip point. So I'm going to go ahead to label my bust line, my under bust line, my waistline, my hip line, and the length of my top. So this table is not that wide. That is why you cannot see the length of my top right now. The next thing I did was to go inward from the center front by half of my shoulder measurement minus 1 inch. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing now is placing my bust band measurement, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 4 inches, so I'm placing the 4 inches on the bust line, under bust line, and waistline. After doing that, I'm going to connect the 3 dots into a straight line. The next thing I'll do now is to take my dart. So on the waistline, I'm going to take half an inch on both sides of this straight line. I'll connect from that point to meet the bust line, but before I do that, I'm going to go down by 1 inch from the bust line to avoid any sharp edge, and then I'm going to connect as you can see me doing. After connecting on both sides, I'm going to go up from the hip line by 4 inches, and I'm going to connect from the waistline to meet that 4 inches point. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now this will start placing my measurements. So on the chest line, I'll place my bust circumference divided by 4. I repeat the same thing on the bust line, my bust circumference divided by 4. On the under bust line, I'll place my under bust circumference divided by 4. On the waistline, I'll place my waist circumference divided by 4. And on this waistline, I'll replace the dart, okay, of 1 inch. And on the hip line, I'll take my hip circumference divided by 4. After doing that, I'll connect the dots together. So you can see I ignored the under bust point. I didn't place my under bust measurement circumference there because I want to use the waistline. I don't want any sharp edge on the side. So after connecting my lines together, this is what I have. The next thing I'll do is to place my tape on my hip line, and whatever I have there, I'm going to place it on my skirt, on my dress length. Like I said earlier, my dress length is 37 inches. I'm going to mark the same 9 inches and I'll connect this straight line to meet the dress length. After doing that, I'm going to head over to the neckline area, okay, and I'm going to place 6 inches here. Placing 6 inches because I want this neckline area to be fitted. Since this is an off shoulder dress, my shoulder measurement is 8 inches, so I've placed 6 inches. It means that I've reduced my shoulder measurement by 2 inches. I went down by 1 inch on the armhole area and I slanted it down because I don't want the armhole area to be poking me since it's an off shoulder dress. So the next thing I'm going to do now after cutting is to extend my dart leg to meet this dress length. As you can see, I have 4 inches on the dart leg. I went ahead to mark the 4 inches all the way to the dress length, and I connected into a straight line. The next thing you'll do is to create the ruffles on the side. So determine where you want it to start from. I want mine to start exactly from the waist area. You can go down from the waist area by 2 to 3 inches. It depends on what you want. So I'm going to go in on that waist area by 2 inches, and then I'll place my ruler like this, and I'll connect from that 2 inches into this dart leg, as you can see. So this is what I want. This is the style that I want. You can do anything you want for this part, okay? So after connecting, I'm going to go ahead and cut this part out. So this is what I'll be needing for the ruffles. I'm going to label this side because I want to cut the side on fold. I'm supposed to cut the side on fold when I'm placing on my fabric. So I went ahead to label the side, the up and the down, so I don't get confused, okay? So after doing that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut on my fabric. I'll be using this pattern paper for both the front and the back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to keep this main fabric, and we're going to slash and spread the ruffle area. Okay, so I'm going to place my tape on the base of this pattern paper, and I'm going to mark what I have. Okay, so whatever I have, I'm going to divide it into 4. So go ahead and divide what you have into 4. Okay, after doing that, I'm going to connect it in a straight line like this, and I'm going to slash it. Okay, so after connecting, go ahead and cut everything out, but make sure you label each pattern just so you know which goes where. Okay, after cutting out, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my fabric, and I'm going to spread this pattern paper on my fabric. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 4 because I want to cut out both ruffles together. I have this part that is folded, and I have the open edge of the fabric. Like I said before, the part that I labeled as the side, I want to cut it on fold, so which is my number 1. I'm going to place it on the folded edge of this fabric, and I'll pin it down. So just go ahead and spread them apart. That is just the point of this slash and spread. You can see that I'm not even marking anything. I just want to spread it and get the shape that I have on the upper side and on the side. Okay, after spreading, this is what I have, guys. And before I forget, the wideness of this fabric is 19.5 inches, and it is folded into 4, meaning I have 19.5 inches on each layers. Okay, one is 19.5 times 2. Okay, I hope you guys are not confused. So this totally depends on you and how wide you want the ruffles to be. After cutting, I've gone ahead to notch the center. So this is how I'm going to gather it to the side of my dress. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the pattern papers, and I'll show you guys what the fabric looks like. So guys, after removing the pattern paper, this is what I have. So I have the ruffles for both the front and the back, and I'm just going to gather it to the side of my dress like this. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out the main bodies on my fabric, as you can see. So I did not add stitching allowance to my pattern paper earlier. I went ahead to add 1 inch for my stitching allowance on the side. On the neckline area, I added half an inch for allowance, and on this ruffle area, okay, I went ahead to also add half an inch. Just on the side that I added 1 inch, which is going to serve as my joining allowance. Okay, so the center front is on fold. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for you guys to see. So at this point, you can go ahead and pipe your neckline using your bias, but if you have enough fabric, go ahead and cut out lining piece that you're going to use. So I'll be using this lining piece to just sew the neckline and the sides. After doing that, I'm going to turn it over and I'll iron it flat. Okay guys, for the back, I've also gone ahead to use my pattern to cut on my fabric. I added 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance on the back. I added 1 inch on the side for stitching allowance, and I added half an inch on the ruffle area. I also added half an inch to the neckline area. Okay, so this is what I have for the back, guys. What I'm going to do is to go ahead and split my zipper allowance open. After doing that, if you have enough fabric, go ahead and cut out lining piece for the back or use your bias to pipe the neckline. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and fix my zipper after doing that. So guys, I've gone ahead to sew my lining piece in place for the front, and I went ahead to iron it. This is what I have. For the back also, I went ahead to cut out a black lining because I didn't have enough fabric. I used my black fabric to turn the neckline over. Okay, and I've also gone ahead to fix my zipper. So this is what I have. In case you don't even have any lining piece, you can go ahead and pipe your neckline and the armhole area using your bias. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join both front and back piece together. So I'm going to place them right sides facing right side. I'll arrange everything in place, and I'm going to sew using my 1-inch allowance. After sewing, guys, this is what I have. Okay, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fix my ruffle. Okay, to do that, I'm going to open this area like this, as you can see, and I'm going to bring in my ruffles. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and start pinning the ruffles. So I need you guys to pay close attention so you see the way I'm going to pin these ruffles. Okay, so I'm going to place the fabric, that is the base, okay, right sides facing right sides, as you can see, and I'm going to start pinning from the base. So I'm just pinning straight on the base because I don't want to gather the base or the side. I just want the ruffles to end on the waist area. So I'm going to pin all the way around. Okay, when I get to the waist area, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to now turn the ruffle to the other side of the base, just like you can see me doing. I'll turn it over, and I'll also go ahead and pin from the M line. Okay, I'll pin all the way. I'll pin close to the waist area, just like I did for the other side. After doing that, I'm going to now gather the rest of the fabric to the waist area. So guys, I'll head over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to gather all these parts of the fabric. Okay, I'll gather it to the part that has joining, that is the waist area. I'll gather it all the way around, and then I'll go ahead and sew. So after sewing, you will realize that all the gathers is on the waist area. Okay, I've gone ahead to do that, guys, and this is what I have for one side of the ruffles. Okay, I'm going to repeat the same process for the other side. After sewing, you're going to go ahead and overlock all this opened edge. Okay, you're going to overlock it. So the same thing that I did for this part, I'm going to go ahead and repeat it for the other parts. In case you don't understand the first one that I did, I'm still going to explain this one. So I went ahead to place this ruffle on the right side of the dress. Okay, so the right side of the ruffle and the right side of the dress is facing each other. So I went ahead to start placing from the down, which is the M line. Okay, after pinning and I got to the waistline, I stopped there. So I went ahead to turn it over to the other side, and I'll also start pinning from the base, as you can see. So I'm not gathering from the base, I just want to gather on the waist area. So I'm going to pin all the way around. When I get to the waist area, I'm also going to stop pinning, and then I'm going to push everything in, and I'll start gathering the remaining parts of this fabric on the waist area. You can either gather or pleat, it depends on what you want. Okay, whichever one works for you, go ahead and do it. As you can see, I am pleating, so I'm going to pleat everything that you can see here on this small part of this waist area. So before I forget, guys, I'm using a Mikado fabric for this tutorial, and I'm using 2 yards of this fabric. Okay, I almost forgot to mention. So I went ahead to sew. After sewing, this is what it looks like. I hope that you guys understand now. Okay, so this is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is to hem the base. Okay, go ahead and hem the base, or go ahead and weave it, whatever you want. And the last thing we are going to do now is to cut out the sleeves for this dress. So I'll be sewing a very simple sleeves to this dress. The length of the sleeves is 3.5 inches. It's on fold, and the wideness is supposed to be 10 inches because I took out 5 inches before I started placing my measurements. 5 inches for the front and 5 inches for the back, but I made it about 13 inches because I want to leave excess. I want it to be adjustable. Okay, that was why I marked 13 inches. So I went ahead to sew this fabric and I turned it over. So this fabric on fold is 3.5 inches, meaning it is 7 inches when it is not on fold. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little bit of pleats, just like you see me doing, and I'll pin it on this armhole area. Okay, I'm going to pin it down. You can either just place it like that or pleat it the way I did. I just pleat it so it will look a little bit different. Okay, so I'll repeat the same thing for the other side of the sleeves, and I'll pin it towards the armhole area like this. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and sew. So I'll measure out the 10 inches, which is what I took out for my off shoulder before I started placing my measurements. I took out 5 inches. The 5 inches times 2 is 10 inches, which is 5 inches for the front and 5 inches for the back. I'll take that out and then I'll push in the excess and I'll stitch on the back also, because I want to be able to adjust it whenever it's tightening me. So after doing that, guys, that is all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like this video, leave your questions in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.